information. I put the call out for indies, right? And I actually got a good response from a few different indie developers. I'm going to talk about the first one here, and I'll try to space them out over the next couple episodes as well. The first game is that I want to show here. Let me get this thing loaded up. It's called Video Game Fables, and it's by Momiji Studios. So let me share this right here. So what Video Game Fables
looks really cool.
It is a very much sort of this experimental turn-based RPG, and I'm heavy on the experimental part because let me preface this. I'm going to pause this right here. It's kind of cool. The game takes place in an abandoned RPG. Like people have stopped playing this game, so no one's going to this RPG world. So the typical loop of rescuing the princess as the hero has sort of dried up, and now the princess is kind of sick of it. So she gets captured by this evil alligator dude, this enemy. She ends up escaping because she's 2D and the world is sort of 3D-ish. So she just flips sideways, Super Mario style, and slips through the screen, baby, which is slips through the jail cell and goes back to the kingdom. And everyone's like, "Wait, you can't be here. What are you doing here?" She's like, "I just kind of got bored. There's the hero, whatever." It reminds me visually a lot of, so Tater is the little henchman kid to this alligator, Tater. In a weird way, everybody's been kidnapped because this, whatever the princess did, whatever other stuff happened, the script has been sort of flipped. So you're now teaming up the princess with Tater and this guy that the princess meets, this kind of wagoneer or whatever, along the way. And you have the same 3 party members all the time. So it's a turn-based RPG. Visually, it's meant to look very kind of retro and basic. I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's on purpose or not. It may have just been a lot of Unity assets that they're using because this game is made in Unity, and it's mostly like 1-2 people, I believe, that made this.
This game looks so cool.
It's really interesting because they're bashing. I mean, they bash a bunch of different video game genres together into this idea of RPG genres, I guess. So let me pause it right there. So you have you traverse the world. The world's in 3D. There's other aspects where it goes isometric. There's like weird little car racing things that are built in there. I'm only like 6-7 hours into the game, 5-6 hours into the game, so I haven't unlocked a whole ton of stuff plot wise, but it's sort of this weird loot-based system of well, first of all, your XP is shared amongst the group. So you get XP, everybody gets the XP. And then it's also shared on your character and your character skill set and your weapons. And in order to unlock more skills, you got to basically spend XP and the in-game gold or whatever, and then you can start to build up your character stats, all that kind of stuff. The game wants you to try out a bunch of different skills, but there's only 3 characters, and you settle really quickly on what you like skills-wise, so you don't ever end up like I've basically used the same starting skill sets because nothing else really worked for me, and I've kind of given them essentially this job. You can kind of set up different weapons, that kind of stuff. That stuck with me the whole time, and I haven't changed it because it got really comfortable really quickly, and I kind of think that a lot of people will do the same thing. They'll get real comfortable real quick with what their builds are for these guys, and that's it. But you can see on the screen here. Can you see my cursor floating around here? Okay. This is your HP. There's the timeline, so the battle timeline along here, and it depends on basically how quickly you select your attacks, how quickly you do things. You can place stuff on the timeline. Stuff goes in order. You can see, all right, this character. Here's the 3 heroes right here. You have sort of the enemies. Oh, look, this one has one of the heroes, or formerly a bad guy hero, and one of the enemies are going to kind of battle off here and square off. So your goal is to kind of be, more powerful, better, whatever. It's kind of got this little rock, paper, scissors thing built into it, which is pretty neat. if you land a critical hit, you store your critical hit here on this little box. So you get the critical hit, and then you can actually use that critical hit as a more powerful secondary attack. It's kind of an interesting method of critical hit is good, but then you also get to use it kind of twice. And that's basically a turn-based, very easy to understand from that standpoint. It's just that it really wants you to try a lot of the different stuff in the game. And it ends up falling in that zone where you get real comfortable really quick on what you like doing, and then just to enhance some of the by the way, this is all taking place mid-battle, so like there's just like a weird crap going on, like the loot aspect to get the materials, which there's like a whole cooking sub aspect of this game. The RNG, I guess, to get those materials is a little bit off. Like, it can be really difficult to get some of the stuff that you want to get. The towns are really small. But I know I'm like not sold on some aspects. I think because I'm really comfortable on some things. But the overall concept of this game is really interesting from everything that it's trying to do. Like, there was that indie game Evoland. Was it Evoland? I think it was, where you kind of start off as like a pixel, and then eventually you get to like more and more develop from a game standpoint, where you get to like, you go from like a 1-bit game to like, 64-bit game or whatever. Here's, by the way, this is the character screen where you're selecting their weapons, their shields, accessories, where to put the strength, what to develop. You got the whole party's level. You kind of, again, it's a shared XP, so you can do stuff that way. It reminds me of that Evoland game where it's slowly revealing more and more about what this game is. Again, it starts off as, this is the starting town. Starts off as like this real basic idea of this turn-based game, but the more you play, the more just wacky stuff that the dev team is throwing in there to really kind of get you to break the idea of what an RPG is by really pushing those classic RPG tropes on the player. So it's really interesting. Again, I'm like 4 or 5 hours into the game right now, just kind of a lot of grindy, very grindy to get. I guess that's maybe the turnoff. Very grindy to get what you want to get. And that's why I think I've fallen into that was the part of the method of cracking open, doing some mining for some of the loot. Is it's actually a neat idea. The little thing goes across, you try to get it in this yellow part, or in the, depending on where you land in there is the kind of stuff you get. And then you have to land it over here, or else you're going to miss out on some good loot. But super interesting. Again, don't know how incredible. There's fishing. Fishing,
baby.
Fishing, baby, JJ. If there's farming, I don't know if I've gotten to farming yet. But I think the farming would put it over for Zach more than likely. But yeah, an real interesting idea. Definitely messes with those tropes. It's another one of those games that messes with typical RPG tropes, but definitely breaks that fourth wall in that respect. So I'm curious to see how it goes as I play along a little bit further. But it's an indie game, and I generally support indies because they are really creative, and this game is definitely creative. Not a big fan of the visual style because, yeah, you can see the text right there. It just seems like a box floating in space. But yeah, check it out.
That's called Soul.
It's got soul. But yeah, if you're interested in like checking out really cool indies, this is a game to. It's very easy to understand. Just be ready to grind a bit to get what you want out of it.